Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Ro. If you're new here, I graduated as a registered nurse at the end of last year, and I started my new graduate nursing program at the start of this year. So I have been kind of doing it for the last 5 to 6 months now, which is very exciting. But in my last couple of videos, you may have seen that I kind of have taken a bit of a break from videoing things, just because I have been very stressed and kind of had a bit of a full-on start to the year with the new graduate program. So I thought I would do a video just to kind of go through and update you about what has been going on with new graduate, what it's like, and answer some of your questions that you guys have put through to me about new grad nursing stuff in particular. So this is what this video is, but yeah, I hope you enjoy it. First up, if you want to get in touch with me, I do also have my Instagram page and I will link that down below. A lot of you guys try and connect through there as well, so I really like catching up with you guys and responding to your questions through Instagram, so just reach out and send me a message if you do want to get in touch. But yeah, I'll leave the details down below and you guys can follow me on there as well. All right, question number 1, am I enjoying it? Yeah, I think ultimately I am enjoying it. There are definitely times where it is stressful or I feel burnt out or feel like I'm not adequate enough or something like that, but ultimately I am enjoying it, and I think I just keep getting more and more comfortable with the work that I'm doing. So that's been really helpful. Since I first started to now, I definitely feel like I have improved so much, and that in itself is making it more enjoyable, I think. But yes, there are definitely times where I come home and I'm tired and all I want to do is go to sleep and not have to wake up at 6:30 in the morning, but then I have to do it anyway, and it's just sometimes it's just the last thing I want to do is get up and go to work. But once I'm there, I actually love the work I'm doing. I really enjoy working with the people that I'm working with. The ward environment is such a good group of people. So yeah, I'm actually really enjoying it, but there are some downsides as well as the positives. So yeah. Okay, question number 2, is it what you expected? Yeah, I think for the most part it is what I expected. I expected it to be somewhat challenging, which there are definitely challenging moments, and I did expect it to kind of feel like I was having a bit of imposter syndrome, and there are definitely times where I feel like that, but I also felt like I would have those moments more frequently and more often and feel a little bit more overwhelmed most of the time. So that has been something that I did expect, but I haven't actually found. I found that even though I do have moments where I'm feeling very stressed out, I, for the most part, am very much enjoying it and feeling like I am kind of working well with the other people on the ward, working well with other new grads, and kind of doing all the things that I need to do as part of my new graduate process. So yeah, that's definitely been a bonus. In terms of other things that I expected, I definitely expected there to be a lot of support, and particularly in the hospital setting that I'm in, I found that I've had a lot of support, which has been really, really good. I know that just hearing from other stories from other people that are doing new graduate programs, some people might not have as much support that they feel like they need, but for me, I felt like I had enough support and have always had someone to reach out to if I have a question. So yeah, I definitely feel like in that sense, it's definitely what I expected in terms of support and kind of the environment that I'm in. Question number 3, did I get an orientation? Yes, I did. I had a really long orientation and it kind of went on for a long time, and I felt like I just wanted to get stuck into things. But I guess that's the beauty of being in a new graduate position, is that you do have a lot of support. So our orientation went for pretty much a full week. We had 2 days which were online at the start. So the first day was kind of an introduction to the hospital and introduction to the executives and all that kind of stuff. And then second day was more introduction to nursing specifically. We got to meet other people from the new graduate program, even though it was on Zoom. So it was just kind of nice to kind of start getting to know one another. And then from the third day, which was the Wednesday, we ended up going into the wards and had a more ward specific orientation. So kind of touring the ward, where everything is, kind of doing some competencies that we had to get signed off, things like manual handling and work health safety things, basic stuff like medications and ticking off all of that kind of stuff. So we did all of that within the first kind of day on the ward, and then had some more specific things to our ward environment. So I'm on a pediatric med-surg ward. So we did some more specific introductions to certain kind of cases that we might see in the ward environment that I was in. So that was really interesting for the ward orientation, but I wasn't actually working on the ward at the time. So whilst I was still in the hospital environment, I still felt like it was a kind of just like more like classroom teaching a little bit. But that was all part of the orientation. So yes, we did get quite a thorough orientation. Okay, number 4. Did I have supernumerary shifts? Yes, I did have supernumerary shifts, and most kind of new grad positions you will have supernumerary shifts. So a supernumerary shift, I'll put it on the screen so you can see how it reads. Yeah, so those shifts, pretty much like the word supernumerary translates to extra person, like an extra number basically. So you're an extra person in the numbers that's counted, that's not counted towards the actual numbers that are on the floor. So for example, if you have like 8 nurses working on the floor or something like that, and you're also rested on to work as a supernumerary, they don't kind of allocate you your own patient load in that time. You're kind of partnered with another nurse to kind of feel like you have a little bit more support, and you're not taking on as much responsibility and load within those first kind of few days to weeks. So that's kind of what the supernumerary shifts were like for us. I did find that they were very supportive. I was pretty much partnered with the same few nurses every supernumerary shift, which was really nice to get to know a few people. And you're kind of working with them, like specifically with their patients as well. So you can kind of see like how they like to work, what kind of things like they do in terms of like the ward specific tasks that need to get done. I don't know, like are there normal times for observations, and like how do they do shift planners, and you can kind of like get to know like what kind of stuff they actually do in a normal nursing day, so that you can kind of start to get a feel for what you need to be doing once you're out on the floor by yourself. So yeah, it's very nice to have supernumerary shifts. All right guys, I'm really sorry I had to get a new memory card because I completely ran out of memory. So excuse the frame if it's different, or the lighting if it's different. So I'm really sorry about that. But anyway, I'm back. Okay, let's move on to question number 5. So do I get to choose if I do night shifts or not? Basically, no, not as part of the program that I'm in. So where I work, and like the hospital and the particular ward environment that I work in, because I'm in like a med-surg ward, then like we obviously have patients all the time. Like it's not like they come in during the day and then go home at night. We do have patients that are there quite long term as well, and stay in the hospital for quite a significant amount of time. So that does mean that obviously we do have to have people working overnight, and of course, being one of those nursing staff that work in that ward, I do have to work night shifts. And as part of my program, it is expected that I do about half night shift, half day shift. So yeah, I'm doing 12-hour shifts at the moment, which kind of means that I do kind of like almost like 6 night shifts a month, because I'm doing kind of like 3 shifts a week with one kind of 8-hour shift thrown in there to kind of even out the numbers. But yeah, so it kind of pretty much, yeah, it's 50-50, and you can kind of like request different shifts if you would like. So if there's certain shifts that I would prefer to do night shifts on, like if I want to do it over the weekend or something, I don't know why you would, but yeah, if I wanted to do that, then you can request it, and sometimes it can get granted. But yeah, I don't actually get a say in whether I can or can't do night shifts. It's more like you're expected to do it. But that being said, like depending on where you work, sometimes you don't have to. Like sometimes you might work in an environment where they kind of like only work like 8 till 4 or something like that. So it's obviously like dependent on where you're working. And also like you could negotiate with the NUM or the people that you work for, depending on where you get the job. But yeah, it's definitely a possibility to negotiate like less night shifts or not to do night shifts at all. But it's very hard if you're in your first year, because it's kind of expected of you to be doing the night shifts, particularly if you're working in a ward environment in the hospital. Okay. Number 6, how often do you get rostered on a night shift? I kind of just answered that. So yeah, it's 50-50, 6 night shifts a month pretty much, and then 6 or maybe 7-day shifts, depending on if I need like the 8-hour shift to kind of like add up to all of my hours. But yeah, it's something that I can do, which I mentioned before, is that you can request different days and they potentially can be granted for you. I mean, I've done 2 night shifts in a row, I've done 3 night shifts in a row. Some people like to try and spread it out, so they do like 2-day shifts and then a night shift at the end of it, where you kind of like have that morning off and then come in that night on the 3rd day. But yeah, it just depends on like the roster circumstances, depending on kind of the mix of skills that are available on that shift and like what's available and what your NUM can provide if you actually want to pick those shifts. But yeah, I'd be interested to know if you're doing a grad program somewhere else, either in New South Wales or another part of Australia, or even like overseas, if you're doing a new grad nursing program somewhere. Let me know, are you doing night shifts? Do you do all night shifts? Are you doing 50-50 night shifts? Do you not do any at all? I'd love to know what the mix is, because yeah, I'd like to know if there's somewhere else that I could have applied that meant that I didn't have to do so many. But yeah, anyway. Okay, last question that I have is question number 7. What kind of training do I get? I get quite a bit of training, and I'm very thankful that the position that I'm in means that like the program that I'm doing is actually very, very supportive. So in our ward, we actually have a ward specific educator, so like nurse educator, and they are very good for kind of like getting in touch with on a daily basis if you have questions about like some of the stuff that you're learning about, or if you need advice about particular skills that you think you need to brush up on or something like that. They're a good person to go to, because they're kind of there Monday to Friday and like every day pretty much, and except for the weekends, but that's where the after hours educator comes in. So if the ward specific educator isn't there, there is also an after hours educator for the hospital, and you can contact them after hours. They might be on site and available to see you, so they could come up to the ward. I've used them before, well, not used them, but like I've contacted them before to have like, basically I just had some questions around the central line for a patient that we had, that it was a bit more of a difficult central line, and I just wasn't quite sure about using like a particular antibiotic with it. So I asked her about it, and she happened to know exactly what to do. So that was very handy. So that's like the ward specific, and then like hospital specific. But also as part of my program, we have new graduate educators, which is very handy. So we have like our coordinators and new grad educators that actually set up workshops for us that we can book into, and they happen like every couple of weeks, and they cover different topics. So I've done stuff on like high flow oxygen for in pediatrics. We've done stuff on respiratory assessments. We've done things like, what else did we do? I don't know, basic care of a newborn, which was an interesting one, like how to bathe a newborn baby. That was a very interesting one. Lots of different like workshops that we can do, that we can sign up to. Things like time management was one of them, and I'm very thankful that they offer those sorts of workshops. And a lot of them are in person or have been in person. So that's been really nice, even though we've got lots of COVID happening around Australia, particularly at the moment in New South Wales. But yeah, it's nice to have access to educators when I need them, or feel like I do have that support if I need them. So yeah, definitely feel like I'm getting a lot of support and education and training within the program that I'm in. So they're all the questions that that was asked by you guys. If you have any other questions, maybe leave them in the comment section down below, and I might make a second video to add to this one. And if you have other questions about other stuff, not necessarily related to new grad, definitely leave them in the comment section down below as well. And if you have any suggestions for other videos that I should make, let me know, because I am not very good with coming up with ideas for videos. So I do rely on you guys a lot for telling me what I should be making. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new, please lick the subscribe button. Please don't do that. I don't know why that came out of my mouth. Oh my god. Okay. If you want to see more from me and my channel, click the subscribe button down below. If you have any suggestions for other videos, definitely leave them in the comment section, or send me a message on my Instagram. I'll leave those details in the description box down below as well. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and a like down below, and I will hopefully see you guys in my next video. Bye.